Okay. Now we're moving on to area number 3 here, the simplification. Now, Terry, I've actually read many FDDs, and I've seen that I've seen these documents. They can be massive.
Yes.
But at the same time, I'm always surprised when I read them that they have some elements of simplicity where you can kind of understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Can you maybe explain how the FDD helps bring some simplification to the understanding of the whole picture?
That's a great point. It's not always been that way. Actually, we went through a period a number of years ago where the Federal Trade Commission decided that they were too complicated. And that was a great thing because now they charge the franchisors and their attorneys with simplifying those documents. Now that was a little bit of a shift for the legal field, because they don't get paid to simplify things. They get paid by the word. Yeah. So they were charged and had required us to have our attorneys simplify those documents so people could read them and have an understanding. And that was a great shift in the.
Now here's a little fun factoid for the Thrivers out here. The Federal Trade Commission, as you mentioned, requires potential franchise owners to have this FDD. They have to, basically, if you're going to buy a franchise, you have to have an FDD in your hands. But a little fun factoid is you have to have this FDD in your hands for 14 days. Mm-hmm. Is that right? Before you're allowed to buy a franchise?
Yes.
Now, from your perspective, you've been doing this forever. What is the FTC, and why do they want all potential franchise owners to have this FDD in their hands for 14 days?
Well, the Federal Trade Commission is charged with a lot of different areas, but as it relates to franchising, they believe that by regulating this, it helps potential investors have their eyes wide open prior to going in and investing, so they understand what the upside is and also what the potential risk might be. So it's a great tool, and it really helps people go with their eyes wide open. And the 14 days is really a good time frame so that they have the opportunity to review the document. It has a number of exhibits, including the license agreement that can be a number of pages. So make sure they have enough time to have had the document, review it themselves, and if they desire to, bring in their attorney to review it.
Now, Terry, before people start to feel too good about the FDD and all the things in it, because it's a great document, it really does help you get a good education and an understanding of the franchise that you're about ready to buy or you're looking into, but it really does not get into any detail as far as about how they actually compete. It doesn't really get into the details of their specific competitive niches, or does it? Or how detailed is it when it talks about how they compete with other franchises?
It's not detailed at all in that regards. The Federal Trade Commission is really looking to protect investors so that they have knowledge before they go in and invest. But also they understand that it's up to each individual investor looking to invest in a franchise to do their own research and to look at the competitive analysis and interact with the franchisor to understand that as it's based on their own needs.
So just to clarify, it doesn't explain who the competitors are. It doesn't explain necessarily how they're going to compete. So those are areas you have to do research on your own if you want to have a comfort level there.
It's part of what you're going to do as part of your research and validation. But it does in the FDD mention the fact that there will be and there are competitive type businesses. We're required to state that.
Now, the Federal Trade Commission does require companies to include 23 items. 23 items within every franchise disclosure document, regardless of the industry.
Yep.
And this is sort of a fun factoid. There's 23 of them. Mm-hmm. And so what we're going to do here is to make this kind of interesting, we're going to go with the lightning round format here.
Good.
So each time I read off an item, and I know you're excited about it, and I am too, every time I read off an item, we're going to add all sorts of lightning thunder graphics on the screen. It's going to be awesome. Cool. So this could be life-changing for people. So here we go. All right, we're going to get into item number 1. These are all items that are required on this FDD document. Item number 1. This is the franchise, its parents, predecessors, and affiliates. Let me just read you a quick summary here. This is an abbreviated summary of the actual contents found within items 1 through 23 as defined in the FTC's guideline document. This summary will include the name, business address, business form, type of business, the years in business, years in franchising, and other businesses the franchisor, parent, or affiliate may be involved in. This portion of the document shows you how the business was started and what transfers of ownership have taken place. This document also tells you the history of the franchise organization, parent corporations, and discloses any other businesses in which the franchisor may be involved, any other businesses these people are involved in. But at the end of the day, why do I need to know item 1? Why is item 1 in there? What's the kind of the highlight?
Kind of think of it as an executive summary.
Okay.
It really sets the stage for what you're going to dive into as you go through it. So it's kind of like what I compare as executive summary. It gives you a 10,000-foot overview of all the things they're going to drill down into as you go through the 23.
Now, I've looked at one of these before, and what I thought was interesting is one I looked at, one guy, he is involved in multiple franchises. And it kind of discloses that this guy owns this business and this business.
Correct.
And it could be, I think it could be helpful where you say, wow, that's great, this person's had success here and here, this makes sense. And sometimes you go, whoa, if this guy's been involved here, I maybe don't want to get involved here. And so this is a really good thing there. Now we're moving on to lightning round item number 2. Here we go. The business experience. This is a listing of all the key individuals ranging from the partners and directors to the top executives with the management responsibilities for the franchise. It will state the occupation and the employer of each person over the past 5 years. Terry, why is this important? Why is it in here?
Well, we found over the years that people really want to identify with that relationship they're going to be building. It's an interdependent relationship, and these individuals and their backgrounds and experience are important. Just like when we look at a franchisee before we award it to them, we want to know about their background, their experience, what kind of a success track they've had, what they've been doing. It's a sharing of information around that transparency.
It kind of sounds like it's like a group resume, just like a big group resume. Is that what it is?
That's a good way of describing it.
Okay.
It's like a big group resume.